Hi everyone and welcome to day 9. Please support me, support this channel by subscribing and liking this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with all your friends who want to quit sugar. It won't cost you anything and it will actually mean a lot to me if you do that. Thank you so much. I wasn't going to talk about supplements, but I have had a few questions in my Facebook group about supplements and especially about L-glutamine and a few other things. So I'm going to talk about supplements today and tomorrow, and today I'm going to mainly focus on the blood lowering or blood glucose lowering effect, or the blood glucose stabilizing compounds that we can take or medicate with. And there's no way that I can cover all different things that are included in this group of supplements, but I will give you my top 3 that I think probably are the most important ones that you want to look into if you're interested in this. And sometimes it doesn't really matter how much we clean up our diet or how much mental work we do. We still have the cravings, they're still there and they're almost as strong. And usually this is due to an imbalance in at least 1 out of 5 different important brain chemicals. So these are the 5 that we have that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about number 1 today and the other 4 tomorrow. So today I'm going to talk about glucose. Now, if you're eating a low carb diet, you should be able to adapt on your own, but some people prefer to supplement. Sometimes it's also necessary for a little while until you have restored the correct balance and until your body is catching up with what you're actually doing and all the changes that you have implemented. So most of you who are doing this challenge have most likely experienced some sort of carb cravings by now, and if you have cravings due to low blood sugar, L-glutamine is your go-to supplement. That's where you want to start. If it doesn't help, which was the case for me when I tried it many years ago, you're most likely not having the cravings because your blood sugar is low. It's probably something else, whether that is one of the other brain chemicals or whether you're just eating emotionally or whatever it could be. Having said that, L-glutamine is really cheap. It's probably the cheapest amino acid that you can get your hands on, I think, and it won't do you any harm if you want to experiment it. So you can always start taking it and there's no harm done. It has other health benefits as well. At least it's supposed to be really good for your intestines and so on. But just keep in mind as well that if you're buying it in capsules, you want to break them open, because you absorb it much better if you take it sublingually, which is under your tongue, straight in your mouth, rather than swallowing it, because then you will just break it down and start metabolizing it much quicker. And you want to take between 500 and 3,000 milligrams up to 3 times per day, or as an emergency relief, if you like, when you have a craving and you feel, oh my god, what am I going to do? Try to take some glutamine, see if it helps. For some people it does provide immediate relief. For me it didn't, and that's why I haven't really talked about this before, and I kind of almost forgot about it, but there is a valid point to it because many people actually do find relief from it. But always start with the lower dose. Start with taking 500 milligrams. If that doesn't help, you can increase it a little bit from there, maybe another 500 milligrams and so on. And just be aware that it can have a laxative effect if you're taking too much of it and if you're not used to taking it. At least it does for me. I haven't heard of anyone else saying that, but I'm just warning you that it can happen. So this is where I think everyone should start when it comes to supplementing with amino acids. It's totally harmless, not going to do you any harm unless you have a problem metabolizing glutamine. But for most people, it's not going to be a problem. Keep doing it if it works for a few weeks up to a few months, but try to not keep doing it the rest of your life, because afterwards a supplement is easier if you just eat the right food and you get balanced and you just eating, you know, a meat-based diet, and as I spoke about the other day about proteins, you should be able to get all the amino acids that you need. So there are many many supplements that have the blood sugar lowering effects that we want when we have cravings due to low blood sugar. So a couple of them that I want to just quickly mention, and one of them is chromium. So most people that are eating high carb diets probably have some sort of chromium deficiency. Chromium is involved in carbohydrate metabolism, so it will be used, and you will, if you don't supply enough of it, you will get depleted over time. So if you're on a low carb diet or a carnivore diet, for example, you're probably not going to be deficient in chromium. But for those of you who come straight from a carbohydrate rich diet, it might be something you want to try, and take about 200 micrograms up to 3 times a day, with the first dose as soon as you wake up. I also want to mention berberine. So this is a herb. You can get it as a tincture, like an extract, or in dried form. I'm not sure whether one is better than the other, but it has similar effects to metformin. So if you are diabetic and you're taking metformin, do not take berberine at the same time, because your blood sugar might just drop way too much and you get a hypo, and you don't really want that. So if you're going to do that, speak to your doctor about swapping and changing and trying things out. Just don't go and do it on your own. Same thing with if you're breastfeeding, you're pregnant, all those kind of things. Speak to your doctor before you do it. Don't take my word for it that it's safe. Shouldn't be a problem, but you want to actually do this in a controlled manner, because berberine is actually quite potent. So don't think that it's just a herb, because it actually has an effect. So there are other supplements that you can absolutely look into if you want to. Cinnamon, for example. Sometimes biotin or thiamine, the B vitamins, are a bit low and they can help maybe. Bitter melon extract, ALA, there are lots of them, and I don't have time to cover them all, because actually I think that with a low carbohydrate diet, you should be able to balance all these things out over time. And if you then add a little bit of glutamine, maybe chromium, maybe berberine, I think you're good to go. I don't think you need to buy the whole pharmacy and just keep stuffing yourself with all these things. So I think those are the 3 most potent and important ones that I can think of anyway. So I would recommend you to start there. And that was all I had for you today. So check in again tomorrow. I'm going to talk a bit more about brain chemicals and what we can do about balancing them. See you then.